Is anybody here? Hopefully I'm getting out. I don't know. Today's been a day on as far as internet, out and about everywhere I've been. So if you made it through the blank screen stuff or whatever, here we are. We've got a quick unboxing to do. Not going to try to keep you guys long tonight. We pretty much talked about everything. I do need to order some different cork knobs for this reel. So yeah, let me just move some stuff out of the way. I believe this is some packages from AliExpress. You guys remember the deal. They come in, one big one, and then they end up being several smaller ones to save us, to save the planet, right? So there are 3 separate bags that were inside the one big bag, and let's see what we got. I'm gonna open the first one. Okay, so here's what we have. Look at that. That's awesome. Can you guys guess what it is from looking at that? That is a John Cuckoo. So we'll talk about this one. If you guys look, it's got the, you can adjust whether it's going to be kind of a depth thing, I think, but we'll get this out here in a second. Let's continue to unbox everything and see what all exactly we got. Okay, ooh, wow. Oh boy, we got a lot of goodies in this one. John Koo, I guess it was a John Koo order. So look at that. John Koo. And not a John Koo. Or is it John Koo? Can you guys guess what's behind either one? These should be the same. No, these are different. Okay, so here's, wow. John Koo with just a different packaging on. Can you guys see those? They're the same bait. I like that color. I don't know if I like how big that bait is, but these were reasonably priced. These, I think both of these were no more than what just the one of these was. So if you guys remember right, that is, even though it's a bigger bait, I was hoping a little more red, but no, that actually may be pretty good. So I'm anxious to just try one of those, and I don't know. I should have bought one. I was like, I'll just get 2, and if it works, or no, wait a minute, no, wait. Okay, I remember now. One is floating and one is sinking. That's why I bought 2 of that color. So I know that color has to work because it's almost the same as this, and this color works real good with that bait. So I'm anxious to get out and try these, even though they're bigger. But like, you know, swim big bass, like when we're big bass hunting. And then we'll get to that in a minute. We do have one more little dude right here. And he is all kinds of taped up. We're going to need to get a knife on him. Let's break out my knife. I know, I got funny looking knives. This thing ain't even in a package, it's just in this. So here we have that dude. I know I can't stay away from the swim baits, but this one actually does have like a bristle brush tail. Let me pull. Oh, don't want to hook myself. That things are stuck on there. I was kind of curious to what that hook looked like, but I don't want to hook myself until I'm out fishing. So definitely a cheap bait. So I'm sure those are cheap hooks, but as long as they're sharp, I'll just run them right off the bat. Kind of show you guys the inside if you can make out. That should definitely work. If you guys remember right, I've done the little trick. You can always kind of modify these. You get into these cheap enough. I know if you go expend spend like 20 to 40 to 80 to $200, you're like, I don't want to cut on no bait that's like it's got a perfect action. We don't know if this one will or not, so we're going to leave it alone. But if you remember, I bought enough of these. You can get these real cheap, that I kind of cut them to where they even flop even more. And so you could easily, I can tell by looking at that inside, you could trim that out before you would get it to where it's still going to be buoyant. Like that's not part, that's just the outer casing to let it have a wider glide. So I'll run it like that. And if I really like the bait, I may go ahead and even order another one and then maybe slim it up a little bit there to where it actually will work a little more erratic. But definitely looks kind of, the shape isn't a crappie, but that looks just like a crappie color. So I am anxious to also try it along with our other swim baits. And this is a copy of the Mega Bass. You can tell that this is definitely a bigger overall, but they're close. Like this might have a little more drawing power, but not a lot. Once you get into these a little bit bigger, I think that's probably just over an inch. But yeah, good size bait. For those of you that are like, I have no clue, I don't have any swim bait type stuff. If you're familiar with the big whopper plopper, the 110 or whatever, there's a regular, the big whopper plopper. So it's a little bit bigger than the whopper plopper. Got a little smaller hooks. I'm telling you right now, them whopper plopper hooks are awesome. The only bad thing about this bait is throwing it around wood, because it never fails. Every time I throw it around like stumps or something, bass gets it, runs me down, and the other hook that he didn't grab like sticks to wood and he gets loose. I've had that happen before. That's why I prefer throwing like a buzz bait or something else around wood over a whopper plopper, the big ones, especially with them big hooks. Never really ran into that situation yet with the swim baits, but I could see where that could possibly be an issue too. You get around too much wood cover, slap something like these right along the edge of a dock, just like the whopper plopper, and if a fish grabs it, and they're going to have time to run a little bit. But anyway, so I'm anxious to try that one. I'm going to pull the floating one of these out first. And so that's all there is. They were all like almost, I'd even call this more on the line of almost a swim bait, as big as it is. Like that's a big bait. Oh, dude, it's already chewed up. John Koo, you did me dirty. You dirty dogs. How did you guys already... Like, look at that. It's just, like, literally jacked. That paint... Oh, my God. How much I pay for this? I mean, that honestly, I'm not worried. I'm sure it's going to... I actually want this to be duller. That is too bright. I may see the old trick work. Go set it out in the sun. Like, when I leave for work, set it somewhere where the sun will hit it, and flip it for a day or two and see if it can dull it. That's almost too bright, in my opinion. Like, this one doesn't have as much yellow, but it's definitely a duller. So I may try to dull that bait up and before I even use it, because I just kind of know that, in my opinion, that's a pretty bright bait. That's some of them cheap paint jobs always end up like that there. Let's pull the freaking sinking one out, see if it's got any damage. These in the packaging actually look like they've been boxed up for quite a while. Yeah, this one just... Honestly, this one looks like a whole different... No, I guess it's... Yeah, they say right on them what they are, floating, sinking. You don't have to, like, it takes the guesswork out. Sinking one does, though. It just has a better look. Like, paint, I don't know if it shows in the camera. The paint is definitely not as bright. Well, that's my signal. So anyway, I'm anxious to get these out. We're going to hang on. It's going to be loud for a minute, but I'm going to get this out and we're going to look at it. But I'm anxious to try those. I've honestly never thrown a bait quite exactly like what these are. I've never owned the Mega Bass, which I'm pretty sure these are copies of. But this bait, they call it organ controlled aquifer. That is, yeah. So you can make out what they're talking about doing here is on the adjustments, where to set it. But basically, I know we never really look at instructions. This looks like a whole different level or quality of how it was made, painted, all that. John Cuckoo. So you've got a little tail, which I guess technically a guy could slap something else in there if he wanted to. So yeah, it's just kind of and that also, I mean, it's not exactly crappie, but it's close to a bass or crappie color. I think it's supposed to be a bass, maybe, is what I would guess. But you could kind of anything. Yeah, so going by physics, when you go like that, it should get down a little, run a little deeper, not as deep, and then that is kind of just at neutral, like so it does have a little bit of some kind of rattle to it. The hooks look very cheap, but if you put different hooks on that, that actually looks like a not real cheap bait. These look cheap. This one really looks cheap. The hooks look good, though. The hooks look better to me. So anyway, somebody comment what you think of the thoughts on these kind of first little dabble on the new. Did I buy any swim baits yet this year? I mean, I've got swim baits. I don't know if I think that may be the first of the batches I bought this year, maybe. Let's look. So I've downsized. If you guys remember right, I had a whole bunch. I don't know if I've talked too much about it. So I kind of went through and weeded out. I'm just setting those right on top of everything. So if you remember right, I kind of weeded out. I had like double this. I had a couple trays of a bunch of them. So I got rid of some of the colors I didn't like or just other baits, and I kind of kept these as the ones that I either didn't get a chance to use them as much as I wanted to see if I like them or not, or B, I did use them and I was like, okay, caught a big one on this one, and these are basically the same, just that bass color I like, and then this kind of carpish kind of color. And I did I like the looks of that one. I like how it casts, and I have caught I think one or two on it, but I've probably thrown this guy as much as or more than this these baits. So I got a bunch of these. I only really have the one, like this one, and then this one I don't think I really had time to get out and fish it much, but since I have two roughly close, a little bit of different color, they swim not too far off. This one I like better. It's got the soft tail. It's got the hard tail. This one may go bye-bye. This one may go bye-bye. I may end up at some point getting rid of a size or so of the John Q. So anyway, we got this one with the lip kind of deal. So let me try to move the... And I think I don't know if I've caught a fish on this one yet, but I don't think I've caught anything on these guys yet. This one, I like the way it swims, but I don't think, maybe I caught a fish. I've caught fish on this guy. I don't think I've caught, maybe I caught a little one. I don't know. I just kind of got into it, and I can say that I have not fished any of these swim baits enough to like justify if I know like they get bit for sure or they don't get bit, other than ones that I have caught some fish on. So I've got some crappie because almost everywhere I fish well, if you guys have seen the videos, I end up catching crappie while I'm like BFS bass fishing. So I'm like, might as well throw some big swim baits to match the hatch, right? If I'm catching crappie. So now I've definitely got like a kind of broader spectrum of crappie type size and color baits and bass baits and just other stuff. So these are on the smaller side of what I already have. I was going to see, I had, oh shoot, the river to sea one. I think I got rid of those. I don't think I like that bait. And I don't, oh my God. I need to cap these all back off. I got 2 bass fighting over here. I got this bait that it may go bye-bye too. I'm not sure if I like it either. It's definitely, it's a bass color, but that is a trout. If you look at the mouth, it's kind of the trout pattern, but it does have the soft tail too. I don't know. I've got like the 3 bass ones, something like this with the single joint that at some point I could see getting rid of all but that one that I like more. It looks more realistic to the size of the little bass I'm always catching anyway. And then these are just kind of fun to have. Like I hardly ever throw these. If somebody else wants to try out on a smaller rod and reel, just what it's kind of like to get these to work, they're kind of all right. I'm not really a big fan of this color, but I scraped off some of the orange just to see if that would help. Those may be going bye-bye too, other than the bass colored ones. Do I sell any of these? No, I don't, but I can tell you where to go buy them. I mean, I do, but I usually just sell some of these locally to people. Once I'm done with them, I kind of either trade them or sell them off. But everything you're looking at that I just got in came from AliExpress, and it's pretty cheap. Now, it's knockoffs. If you believe in, nobody really believes in knockoffs, but if you don't mind, you don't want to spend a ton of money because you don't even know if you like this style of bait, you want to try it out. Now, I would recommend, because I do watch the Hookup Tackle, and he is definitely big on, like, don't mess with knockoff stuff. But here's the thing. I'm not going to go spend $60, $80, $100, $500 for these swim baits that people want. I'm just kind of lightly into it. Now, these are definitely true knockoffs of the K9s and stuff like that. But I would recommend, if you guys like found this channel and you see some of these baits, these knockoffs, or you go to AliExpress and you find some of these, I'm almost not 100% positive, but if you go by the actual one that these are knockoff of, you would probably even be have better luck because they probably do work better than these knockoffs. As far as I feel, almost any knockoff out there, you can it's hard to explain, but you almost have to work it, get more in tune to working it to get it to work the way it's supposed to where a lot of those are kind of like a no-brainer. You cast them out and reel them when they're the true original kind of thing. So, like if you see a knockoff of a mega bass or some oddball that a guy's making out of his garage, but they're first of all they're never available, and then when they are, they're like $250 or whatever. So I don't even know the names of any of these. I'm sure this one is a mainstream bait that it's a knockoff of something. I think I've seen it before, but I don't even know what they would cost. These were cheap. I don't have the exact prices, but I hardly ever paid more than $5 to $7 for these small ones. And these bigger ones are only like anywhere from 10 to 12 maybe, or 17 for 2, or there's different packages you can get. But if you guys don't know, just the AliExpress rabbit hole is you go to AliExpress, type in swim bait, and then just go from tab to tab and just see what all they got, because it's hard to put, like you could put mega bass swim bait maybe, and it may take you to those ones like the first one I showed you, but you could put bass swim bait or whatever, and it'll just, there's like once you get down the rabbit hole and start looking around, and you click on one like this, and if now you can like scroll all the way over and it'll say find similar, and you click that, and then it's basically, you know, how they do the search with pictures. So then it'll almost bring up everything that looks like that kind of thing. And I find instead of sharing links, it's better to just kind of show you guys how I navigate through AliExpress. You know, once you've figured out how to, you may find something that I've never even seen also on your computer or phone or whatever search deal. So what I've still got coming is I've got, I think it's the 3 smaller versions of this. Maybe they do have the lip. I don't know. I can't remember. I know the name, but I always forget the name of what these mega bass with that double, that joint. And some of them, the smaller griffins, or no, that's not right. I can't think of the name of them. I don't have any idea if what this is a copy of. It's definitely got that little narrow pointy head. I mean, it looks like every swim bait that first came out on a lot of different baits. Definitely a hard plastic. These are all hard plastic, not a resin or anything like that. But that one looks good. I'm anxious to try it. This looks good too, just to see how deep, where it runs and stuff, or how, you know, what you can do with this. That's kind of cool. And look, I mean, it doesn't take up a lot of space, kind of thing. So here, let me read some comments. No, I don't. Charles says glide baits suck. Charles, don't you even say that. If bass aren't hitting, I will hammer crappie. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, AliExpress, I mean, Temu, I don't know if Temu and AliExpress have I'm sure they're selling stuff from the same places. I think Temu like has a warehouse that they pull it all into and ship from their warehouse, just makes stuff to sell to us. They're probably similar to what AliExpress. And I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not definitely not a Chinese communist, but if you go on AliExpress, a lot of guys have like horror stories from back when AliExpress first kind of started, and that happens with anything. Once you start getting stuff from out of state, even with eBay, I've been scammed on eBay before back in the day. But AliExpress now is more or less set up as they're like a guaranteed place to go and feel safe in ordering, you know, from the different stores in China. They like guarantee that the package is going to show up. And so I don't feel like it's that big of a, you know, risk kind of thing. Now, have I had 3 to 5 to 10 things that I basically just canceled and got a refund on? Yes, but I've yet to like feel like I've got scammed and lost my money in dealing with AliExpress. And now you can go on there and like read their stuff and their guarantees and all that. So, but the Chinese are about the best on reverse engineering stuff and putting other stuff out. But some of the reels now, I have not seen anywhere else. Some of the stuff they're coming out with now. So it's like on even some of these baits too, you know, I think they're right now still in that thing. They've gotten real good at copying some of these more expensive, higher end baits that they know if they can come out with just a cheap copy of it, the guys that probably wouldn't even buy a $20 to $40 bait will spend $5 to $7. You know, because in all honesty, $1.50 to about $5 is all you really need to spend to catch a lot of bass per bait, like per thing or less, because you can still go get some cheap worms and fairly reasonably priced jig heads and stuff, and you can, whether it be Texas rigging worms, drop shotting, shaky head, you can still get the Z-Man original chatterbaits that I don't care what anybody says. That I know I've got the jackhammer knockoffs and stuff like that. They will catch you fish. It's all kind of if you feel more confident in the ones that are made a little better. I would recommend, and I'm going to tell you this real quick. It just popped in my head. I wasn't even thinking about it till right now. If I went back to fishing Z-Man original, I would probably go 3/4 ounce, and all of the skirt material, I would basically tie on or down to where it didn't flare it off. You guys know what I'm talking about. Because I think that the best thing about the fact that the tied on skirts is because they keep the bait from ballooning as much. So even like this bait, or this skirt, see how this is when you pop them on, or they have the rubber band, it basically flares more. Even though it's down in around that head, I feel it's just more resistant on this bait. And I think some of the things, not every, sometimes they'll hit it. But same reason I run this right here. As streamlined as you can get that coming off that head where with less resistance, it lets you, this will have a tendency to dart more as you doing a quick reel snap or a quick twitch and then stop it. It just gives it an extra little during, what you're trying to do. And I think that will get you more bites than, just the traditional one with the more flared. And that's why a lot of times too many strands just can create too much stuff. That's why when I throw the little ones, the little micros, probably even I may start doing it with that little Mini Max 1/4 ounce, is peeling some of those down. And the little ones, I don't even run the skirt on it. I just take it off and then put some kind of small little something on there, because then it'll let it jump. I found out I had way more fish on the little 1/8 ounce. Those are the micros, right? Not the minis. I think the minis are 1/4. I don't know. Whichever, the smallest ones that are the cheap ones are like $2.99, $3.99. Not the flashback ones, but the actual look just like a little mini chatterbait. Take the skirt completely off. I mean, technically you could make your own little, like a thinner skirt, and it'd probably let it dance, but I just run some kind of small soft plastic, doesn't take much, just a little swim bait, something on there to give it a profile, and it lets it jump around. I catch way more fish doing like that. A little 2.5 inch, some kind of swim bait or whatever. So yeah, that was kind of a little side thing on as far as the chatterbaits go. But you guys know the deal. Just like everything, I do that. I guess there's one little side to that, though. I do think there's just something to a couple different of the Mega Bass jerk baits. The Vision 110. I think there's times when that bait, and 110 plus 1 junior is my favorite right now. But there's times when it seems like nothing else will hit. That bait will work, and then some of these rattle traps. You guys know I have my favorites or whatever, but my rattle trap is cheap. My chatterbaits actually are cheap because I'm getting the knockoffs, but even if the Z-Man originals aren't expensive, Rogers has the minis, or not the minis, they have the Mini Max or whatever. I want to say they're $6.95, $7.95 maybe. I mean, they're a few dollars more, but they're not that $9.9. They're not as high as what like Tackle Warehouse has them for, or Bass Pro Shops. They've got, Rogers does sell them a little cheaper. These are still high. The big blades are $9.99 maybe or something. And I could not tell you if I really know that I feel that the big blade will get you more hits than the Z-Man original. I still have not used these. I've only got the 2 colors. I got this and then like a white one. And then the Mini Max, I only really got that color in a Mini Max because I've got so many other colors in a 3/8 ounce. The Mini Max isn't that much smaller. So yeah, any questions? I do have, like I said, 3 of these and a smaller, more bass and bluegill colored ones coming in. I've got 4 or 5 of their rattle trap baits coming. and a few other, some stuff come from AliExpress. I've got 4 or 5 of the bigger 3/4 ounce rattle traps coming from Tackle Warehouse, so I could just kind of replenish and a few different styles to try on the rattle trap. See if I can find anything that I feel is as good as the LV500 or my Booyah pop back crash. I'm looking at this frog. Looking at that old nasty frog, and it popped in my head. But no, the Booyah hard knocker. Because I have this weird feeling in my head that it won't be long before we'll be able to keep the Booyah hard knocker. They keep, every so many years, they drop down what you can get in it. Because like right now, I can't go to Tackle Warehouse and get a 3/4 ounce Booyah hard knocker. I can go get the 1 knocker or whatever in a 3/4 ounce Toledo Gold. And I think the bone color is either gone. So I don't know. I get this feeling like you need to find another alternative that's like a favorite rattle trap other than an LV500, because they're $15. And it's probably going to be the Quakes, because you guys remember, right? I do have a few of those that I kept back. They've got a pretty good color, craw colored one. And then some of their, well, they've got good colors, and those we've already caught fish on that one, so that made, and it's not real expensive either. So yeah. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. It's starting to get cold, and I still haven't ate dinner. But hopefully you liked a quick little unboxing. Yeah, I just think, I don't know, should I try these that bright? That's a pretty bright bait. If that was just a dull, I love the top color. I almost wish it would have came down all the way to here. It reminds me of the Strike King version of this, and I had that in a 3/4 ounce up against my Booyah hard knocker in that Toledo Gold, and the brighter Strike King definitely didn't get bit as much as the Toledo Gold on, and they don't call it Toledo Gold, but they call it something else on the Strike King Red Eye Shad. But it's similar to that color. So I think these need to dull out. I might try to set, I might just take one. This one that's already jacked up sort of anyway. Just leave it out, see if it fades and doesn't, you know, still looks with just a slight yellow. I don't know. It may not do anything. Set it out for a month. Oh well, we'll find out. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. As soon as any other baits come in, I'll do another little live stream, show you what they're getting. I don't have any clue as to what point we'll actually get out on the water and get the fishing. As soon as it warms up, though, I'm going to go out and do some cast testing, shootouts, this reel, see if it feels as good as it should. The Zillion and the Steez, any of the others with boost, and maybe even put it up against this AliExpress boost spool, and then see how lightweight, you know, set it where cast basically, you know, this bait as hard as I can cast without backlashing, no, you know, fluffing up, see what the distance is, and then see if I can also, because, you know, test it against probably all 4, have like a little 4-way shootout between Steez, Zillion, the new Steez, and the new spool from them, and then see if I can also, I don't know if I'll go this low, but, you know, see how well it does with a little bait. So be looking forward to that video as soon as I get a day where it's like not so cold that I can, you know, still feel my fingers and be out there casting. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. There is a lot more coming. We're back bass fishing.